It's been brought up a couple of times, and this isn't specifically for you. It's really a discussion here that I guess we have to have because it's been mentioned now a couple of times that somehow this administration is heartless because they are taking money and putting it in surplus that could be helping children and other people. If you go through the hard numbers, this idea that we have a surplus that's more than $600 million is just not accurate. I am willing to talk no matter what the surplus is. If we have a situation where we want to build more money in for a critical service, let's have that conversation. But to paint this administration as heartless because they are somehow taking money that should be helping children and putting it into an outrageous level of surplus is just not accurate. This number that I've heard quoted, and I heard it again quoted here today, I hoped I wouldn't, because I think it's been thoroughly disproven that we have more than a $600 million surplus. It's just not accurate, folks. Why
do you say that?
Because we overbooked the savings from the health and benefits bill by $165 million. This is taken off the $640 million. Just let me go through my numbers.
Let's take that one at first.
Sure.
The governor put in a number, an estimated savings in his pension and health benefits bill.
He did.
He never changed it. It's his obligation through an administrative resolution to make that change, which he never did.
Okay, so
and let me go on further. Because they raised the issue, we actually did our own analysis without the help of the administration because they refused to have any meetings during budget discussions, and we were able to account for what will be $500 million in savings for plan redesign, which you and I have talked about, the importance of plan redesign. So again, Declan, I would say to you that the argument that they've made that the money isn't there is another way to divert people's attention from something that they asked for, that they have an obligation to change through resolution that they chose not to do, and we once again did their work for them.
Let me deal with both of those issues, Chairman. I appreciate that. If you have found those savings, I'd love to see them, and I'm sure the administration would love to see them. You say they won't meet. If that happens, I am happy to join you and condemn them if it's the truth. Let me know. I'm happy to approach them too. But so if you have found another $500 million, let's talk about it. That's fine. So far, I haven't seen that documentation from you. I'm happy to look at it. But
just so you understand, it's not our responsibility to do the front office's job.
So,
and let me say to you, in addition to that, we asked them for information from Treasury. We use their own numbers to help materialize this information. They have the ability to do this. But they also cut money to the staff of the legislative offices, yours included. We are doing it with less resources than they have. So that they could take their surplus and go from $300 million to $600 million and cut $289,000 to children in the court system, $4 million to children who need specialized hospitalization, and a little over $1 million for children who you heard today. A 5-year-old child said he wants his braille.
I realize the goal today is to beat up the administration.
That's not the goal today.
But it is.
No, let me just say to you, Elisa Evans never once said the administration. She said shame on us. Okay?
Shame.
Okay, now, secondly, no one here has mentioned the administration or any of this except for you. But if you're going to bring it up, I will correct the record. Because this is the first time in the 16 years that I have been here that an administration did not sit down and have budget discussions. Many of these things could have been worked out had we sat down. If they would have asked us, if they would have mentioned ever, hey, you know, by the way, this pension and health bill, it's changed so that we don't think the savings is there, we would have said, as we have said to treasurers in the past.
How could you, as a responsible legislator who was part of the compromise that greatly reduced the impact? Obviously, the compromise we made in order to get it passed greatly reduced the impact. It had to. Because we changed dramatically the bill that I was prime sponsor of initially. It would have to reduce the savings in the first year. We're phasing it, just to do the math on the back of a napkin about the health benefit changes, phasing those in, rather than going to an instant 30%
I understand.
across the board.
Let me just say it. You changed it on
savings.
one side of the ledger, which is why I take offense when someone says, how could you, as a responsible legislature?
That's
I'm the only one who on this side, leading our Democratic caucus, who was fighting to do the responsible thing. We are looking at the numbers. We were criticized for having these hearings. Because of these hearings, we've already heard from the front office they're restoring money in transitional aid. We've already heard that they are now coming.
They indicated.
No, wait, no. Let's make it very clear. They had a decision, and they cut the funding for the money that we put in. And why did they cut the funding? Because we got calls from reporters who said they cut the funding because we didn't put in administrative costs for transitional aid. And as you will hear next week, that was because they had an 8.7% increase in their budget in administrative costs within the department, which, had they sat down and had budget discussions with the legislature, as I believe is their obligation, as every other administration has had before, those conversations would have taken place and the cuts would have never
Okay,
had
do we
take
want to talk
place.
about
Mr.
transitional
Chairman.
aid? Because we can get into that. We
Chairman.
could have an hour
No, go ahead.
conversation
I'm
about
sorry.
transitional aid. But bottom line is, immediately, I mean, and again, I
No,
don't
we're
know who you
having,
called.
not to interrupt you, but we're having a conversation about responsible legislators, because that's the point that you made. So don't suggest that it isn't responsible.
It isn't
Chairman,
responsible to suggest that after we had made a compromise of pension and health benefits, a historic compromise, and you were one of the architects of that, and I appreciate that. I'll praise you for that.
The architect, the
But-
sponsor of it.
That's fine, but both, as was I at that table. But if we compromise away from the initial savings, we had to book something less. It was irresponsible of the budget submitted by my friends on the other side of the aisle to use the original numbers. And again, whatever the number, the reduction is, we have to take that off the surplus. You just have to. And my number is about 165 million.
Declan, I would like to get back to the people that we're here to hear from today, and I will just
Thank you.
close with, it is irresponsible to not look at the savings from the plan redesign, which is what was not done by the front office, which is what we did, which is why the savings are there.
I'd like to
So-
see it. Can I get a copy of your analysis?
You know what, I would ask you first to do your own work on it, because I'm tired of carrying water for the Republican side of the party when you put in resolutions and you don't put anything
But,
up.
Mr. Chairman, you
So-
cannot, you
And if you
cannot
can't
say,
figure it out on your own, we'll be
No, no,
happy
no.
to share it
you
with you.
cannot say
Mr.
that
Chairman,
you've done the work,
Mr. Chairman,
that you've
can
done
I
the work
just-
to disprove what the
excuse
administration
me,
has put
Mr.
forth.
Chairman,
Excuse me, I have the
No,
floor.
I'm sorry, but you weren't
Assemblywoman,
recognized.
I
You
was
weren't
recognized.
No, you just blurted out, Assemblywoman
Right,
Poe.
and as you can tell, one of the things, the only reason why I'm trying to interrupt is that I think we should be respectful to the person who's in front of us, who certainly is here because she wants to be able to tell the story, a story and an important one to all of us. She lost her daughter. Let us get back to what we're here for. Certainly, there's, Mr. O'Scaling, you're dealing with administration and dollar figures. Right now, I think we need to be able to identify and put in place what is the significance and the importance of that reduction or the loss of those dollars when it comes to the real human being effort and thought of this. So
And my question deals exactly with that.
Go ahead.
If you have recalculated the surplus, then it is irresponsible for you not to share it with us.
No, we presented a budget
No,
that
no,
had...
no. We were asked a specific question by our budget officer, and you said it's not my responsibility to give you that.
No,
And I'm
listen,
trying to say you can point fingers anywhere you want to point them. But if you're not willing to share information that you've calculated that changes this process, then that is your responsibility.
Anthony, let me say something to you. I'm happy to share with the front office, the treasurer, counsel to the governor, and the governor's office. Your legislation, you have not yet stood up, you've advocated for resolutions, and then you didn't support them when they were put in the budget. There was a budget that was presented that had no new taxes in it, and you didn't support it. You were so quick to stand up and defend when we have not attacked the governor. You're so quick to stand up and defend a fear of an attack on the governor as opposed to defend and fight for the people that are here today. That's the part I don't understand. When you've introduced resolutions to put this back in, and they were done without tax increases.
No. What I'm here to defend and support is if there's additional information out there that you have calculated on your side, and you're just not willing to share it,
Anthony, did you
then
vote
give it
for,
to us.
Did you vote for health insurance and health insurance and pension reform?
Yes.
Why have you not looked at what plan redesign would be? Why have you not asked any questions?
Well,
Why have
listen,
you not?
We absolutely
have.
have.
And what have you found?
And
And who
the
have you talked to?
calculated- And the calculated savings, I don't.
Okay,
a
listen,
dozen
we're
people-
done. We're going to move back onto the people. I'm happy to have this conversation with you later. This is about the people that are here today.